Social justice is to treat others according to what they are due or entitled to, whilst aiming to reduce inequalities and promote social mobility, as according to Smith in 2012. This can result in treating people equally for what they need or deserve. This concept deals with the idea of equity as opposed to equality. The understanding that giving everyone the same does not result in equal opportunity is one that should not be forgotten. Thus, to allow all those to reach an equal end, they must be provided with different stimuluses and resources that aid them individually. It is important to understand people's circumstances and backgrounds when evaluating the social justice in the British education system. Different political ideologies have a variety of ideas and beliefs on how to promote social justice. The left-wing policies believe that it is the role of the state to reduce chances of inequality, and that opportunities should be provided for all. In a contrary perspective, right-wing policies are aimed towards it being the individual's responsibility for their own social justice within society. If there is a continuation with traditional right-wing ideologies, statistics have proven that those suffering in poverty will continue to rise, as it has done for the last 10 years. As provided by the Child Poverty Action Group, 70% of poor children are in working-class families. The idea you work to benefit yourself ultimately will leave those who are less able behind, resulting in limited progression to reduce the gap between the richest and the poorest within a community. The Educational Policy Institute 2019 claimed that education is a transformative and should allow children to fulfil their potential. This is supported by the national curriculum, where it is stated that teachers should set high expectations for all pupils. Whilst it is important that pupils are stretched and challenged to an appropriate level, it also clarifies that teachers have a great obligation to plan lessons for lower level and disadvantaged pupils. This shows there is a governmental importance for all pupils to get the same high-level teaching, no matter their background. Ultimately, this documentary will explore whether social justice can ever truly be achieved, or will economic circumstances continue to just be a hindrance.
Poverty is going to have inevitable effects on a child's education in terms of the achievement within the classroom. This can start off as early as parents choosing their child's first school. It is suggested that the education market is supported and run by parental choice, and choosing the best school to give their child the advantage. Tough and Brooks 2007 used the term covert selection to imply that schools will put deterrents in place, such as complex literature and advertisement and advertising in richer neighbourhoods, to ensure that pupil intake is of a higher proportion to the upper class. However, there are government guidelines put in place with the admission policies when it comes to parents selecting their child's school, such as pupils who live near the school already have siblings in the school, although it is stated in the criteria that this varies between schools. Vincent supports the view that parents act as a consumer and a partner in terms of selecting schools and driving the education market, as parents can have an effective voice, although this is influenced by parental employment and their social, cultural and material possession. The chart here clearly shows that a well-established achievement gap before children arrive at secondary school, which highlights that primary education is vital in reducing the gap. The chart shows that pupils who score in the bottom percentile for attainment lived in the most deprived areas, and those achieving the highest scores lived in the most affluent postcodes. It is important for parents to evaluate the type of school that they are sending their child to, as it is clear that from even a young age, the choice in school can have long-lasting effects. It can be argued that the admission process is biased and gives upper-class families a privilege, as it is implied that middle-class parents engage more when choosing their child's school to make the right decision for their child. However, it is important to not underestimate and stereotype the beliefs and values of parents from working-class backgrounds, as everyone wants the best for their child. However, they have to deal with the circumstances and environment that they live in.
Statement: money is the biggest factor in children's achievement.
I'm arguing for this, and one of the reasons is lack of resources. So websites like Show My Homework and My Maths are such big parts of school life now, and if the children do not have access to computers, laptop or even the internet, they will not be able to complete the work that's been set. Following on from this, parents may not have money to provide amenities such as uniforms, lunch boxes and bags, and even the basic things such as pens and pencils. And this has a huge impact on the child's attainment, especially in comparison to their more well-off peers.
However, it is important to realise that schools do offer paper versions of homework and provide most of the equipment needed. It is important to evaluate the use of parental input with a child's success. Things such as attending parents' evening and being involved within the wider school community, such as assemblies, is vital to a child's success, as if they see that their parents value and support education, then they are more likely to succeed. Secondly, this can be influenced by the child's and parents' cultural background, as it's important to understand that different cultures value education differently. For example, Asian cultures value education more and will push their children to succeed more as it has a greater importance in their future life. They are more likely to attend parents' evening and help with homework, which is vital.
However, things such as parental employment during childhood factors into the likelihood of deprivation in later life, such as the odds of experiencing severe material deprivation is almost twice as high for those whose fathers are unemployed compared to those in managerial roles. And for some parents, attending parents' evening just isn't possible as they don't have the flexible jobs which allow them to do so. And this may promote a lack of interest in the children's education as they cannot provide any extra help or support that may have been offered at the parents' evening.
Despite this, it is important to evaluate the importance of intrinsic motivation of the children. Just because they're from a working class background does not mean they won't want to succeed. Hard work and determination pays off. They can see this through things such as TV shows and people like Alan Sugar, who left school at 16 but is left to become the most successful businessman in the world. There's also public places available for children to study and work. Homework club is also provided by schools as well, and things such as after-school clubs to help support parents and for children to help with their homework and succeed.
Although there are a range of free things available, cultural capital is found to be richer in more affluent families, and this is because they can afford trips outside of school, such as museum trips and the school holidays, and this in turn will help increase their attainment within school. Poverty impacts students' experience in education in other ways. So the Children's Commission for Poverty found that a third of children who said their family was not well off at all had fallen behind in class. This is because their parents could not provide the necessary books and materials, and 2 in 5 children said that they missed school term trips because of the costs.
In conclusion, money is a paramount factor in children's achievement, but not necessarily the biggest. Government's funding towards education has increased over the last 5 years, initiating the idea that more is being done in creating a well-rounded system for education. Although funds are paramount when it comes to providing opportunities and resources, authority can outweigh what money can buy. Government's control over teachers' input results in barriers for what is possible for them to do in their remit of power. When questioning how social justice is handled in the education system, there is no space to ignore the fact that there is jurisdiction over how far a teacher can go. Smith 2012 points out the clear argument that the engagement in social justice is consistently revolving with those who have power and that no fixed result will ever be formed, thus validating our argument that social justice is a well-rounded desire and can be improved but consequently never resolved as economic and cultural issues are ongoing. As a current reflection, government impacts of social justice within teaching are giving broader opportunities for all children. Wrigley and Pratt 2012 comment on the notion that teachers who actively participate in social justice issues are able to provide pupils with a well-rounded education to best prepare them to succeed in their current society, while still acknowledging the fact that they must remain as impartial bodies due to children having different circumstantial backgrounds. Overall, arguments may be put forward for the improvement of social justice. However, evidence has proven that although there has been progression, there is still a long way to go, suggesting that a resolution is far off.